Good evening, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. I was about to say something else. Thank you guys for joining us. Tonight is going to be an interesting show and hopefully very informative or enlightening. We're going to go ahead and run our intro and we'll be right back. All right, ladies, we are live. Welcome tonight. Thanks for joining. We have, of course, every Tuesday, our lovely ladies, my partners. I'm not going to say in crime because we're not doing no crimes, but my partners in talk, let's say. So we have the wonderful Shanetta McNair.
Hey,
Oh, the very awesome Katrina Taylor.
hi.
And the fabulous Tangela Terrell.
So,
All right, ladies. So as I said, we do have some special guests this evening, and so we are going to bring them in the room. Uh oh. So I'm gonna bring everybody in, and then they can. We'll go ahead and introduce them, gentlemen. I know most of you are known to the virtual community, but I'm gonna call out your name anyway because it's my show, and you
That's
go ahead
fine.
and wave your hand. So we have Anthony Walker. Really, that's
AD.
what we doing. I hate that. We have Ephraim Terrell,
Yo, yo.
Michael McNair, and Dwayne the Goodson. Oh, and I see we got a scraggler coming in the building. Look who it is. Pastor
Oh,
Brian
oh.
McCrory.
Y'all in trouble now.
Yeah, it seems it definitely seems that way. So, it's a lot of us tonight. So thank
Yeah.
you
All right.
guys
Indeed.
for being willing to be a part. Ladies, let's just don't let them take over. They're just guests. So so our topic for tonight is what does covering slash protecting women look like? So
Mm.
we know our gentlemen have lots to say. So ladies, we're gonna start off, and you guys tell me um, what you guys feel about that. Like, what does that look like for you, Tangela?
so for me, when I think about men protecting women, it's the feeling safe in a man's presence and feeling. I know for us when we were growing up, we always said if when daddy's in the house, we sleep a lot better. So it's that sense of protection. And as I grow older, that comes in different forms. In my marital relationship is being protected emotionally, being protected physically, being protected financially. So feeling safe is what I'll say.
Okay. And Shanetta?
I definitely like what Angela said, that feeling of safety, that feeling of security, where when we live in such, I guess, an unsure world where so much is happening around us, to be able to have someone that has your back no matter what and looks over you no matter what, prays for you, and pretty much make sure that no matter what goes down, you're going to be okay.
Mm.
And that secure feeling, I think, is what I think about as well.
Okay. And Trina?
I pretty much agree with Shanetta and Tangela. Um, I feel like when women go out into the world or the community, they shouldn't have to, you know, feel uneasy if they're approaching a group of men. They shouldn't have to feel like if they're going out at night, they have to take somebody with them all the time. But I find that that's how we often feel, that when we're going out amongst men, we have to feel scared, and we shouldn't have to feel that way.
Mm.
Right. So, gentlemen, who would love to jump in first?
It's
All
your
right,
show.
Ephraim, go
It's your
ahead.
show. It's your show. Whoever you
Ephraim?
want to go.
Okay, Ephraim.
Now, nah, I love and thank you for the invite because I'm not technically a brother. I'm a cousin of Legacy, so I appreciate y'all letting me slide through. But I agree with everything I heard with the ladies. I I just would want my woman or a woman. I know it's not just necessarily our spouse to know that when I'm here, you're straight. Now, you know what I mean? My wife said I can't save other women like that. So to a certain degree, you know, you're on your own. But for the, if I see you getting jumped or something crazy going on, I got you. But if you need a ride home, you need a house to come home to, that might not be me. But
Get you an Uber.
you get your Uber. I'll stay there till they pull up too. I got you. I'm a gentleman. I'll do that. But you going home by yourself. But we should let ladies know that they're covered. You remember that the whole thing that went viral and the girl was fighting the guy on at McDonald's, and it was like three guys around her, and she had to sit there and fight this customer by herself. I just, I feel that was a letdown on not all men, but just in that situation. So you want women to feel that they're protected, they're covered, and if something go down, that you got their back.
Okay. Uh, McNair? Is he froze?
Is he frozen? Oh no, he's on. Okay, cool.
It's two McNairs on here now.
Well, she already talked.
Um, I liked everything that one said. I remember when I was a little boy, um, I had like a little fear of the dark, and so sometimes I might even sleep with the light on, because of that fear. When my mama wasn't home, and I might have been the only one at the house, not only would the room that I'm in have the light on, but it might be a whole lot more lights on in the house because of that fear. Um, but when Mama came home, um, all my fear went away. My fears were of whether it was the boogeyman or whether it was someone coming into our house. Um, I don't know what my mom could have done to any of those people, but in me as a child being covered, it was the love that my mom had for me that gave me that security that I needed so that all the fear that I have, the scripture puts it this way. The scripture says that love casts away all fear.
Okay.
So I believe that I'm speaking as far as my wife now, the love that I have for her and that we have for each other, with the love being there that's needed, it should be able to cast away that fear. Of course, along with some principal things to add to that in me covering her. Um, it's not good enough just to be there, but to be present.
Right.
And we have to make our presence known, and it's not always with words. A lot of times it's with action. So it's different. It's different. ways of showing of covering and protecting the women that we have in our lives and that we are around.
Okay.
Somebody got a lot going on in their background.
Yeah, somebody's background is a little loud. All right, Goodson.
Well, first of all, thanks for the invite, sis. And my apologies to you guys that I haven't been showing up. I've been in my writing season, so I know I usually be here, but just want to throw that out there. But no, everything you guys said and touched on so far has been it's easy to agree with. Um, I've always heard when a woman feels secure, when she feels safe, that everything is pretty much in order, and from there everything can be worked out. But I want to point out, for me at least, when I hear protecting, that's different from covering in a sense. They're both the same thing, except protecting doesn't necessarily, it always lends itself to the physical, the feeling safe and the being secure. But the covering, for me, adds a spiritual aspect to it. And that part is probably more important sometimes because it drives what the vision for the family is. And you got to be out front. You got to be willing to take the heat. You got to be willing to pray and to listen and to be all that. And sometimes it's not easy, especially when you're a man. So that's one of the reasons I'm here. I want to get sharpened a little bit.
Okay. AD.
So I mean, everyone's pretty much covered what protection and covering is like. You know, McNair spoke and Dwayne spoke from the inside. The ladies kind of spoke on the outside. You know, being there when situations happen, and just being aware of other women that are around. I mean, of course, your own family. I know for whenever we go out, I know just like other men, when you go out, you kind of got your peripheral of who's around, what areas are we stepping into, you know, who's at what table, who's where, you know, anything looking a little shaky, like, all right, I don't think we should hang out here too long, kind of situations. But being also aware of those that are around, especially if you're a man alone going somewhere, you kind of just watching. I do have some questions, but we'll get into that. I know you're just trying to get our perspective right now. But I think that's to me, that's protecting, and the covering would be those that are you closest to, covering and watching out for them, and like Dwayne spoke in the spiritual sense as well as the physical sense, you know, being concerned and looking out for them, especially if they're not connected to any other men, you know, trying to be there for them.
All right. Pastor Corey.
So you saved me for last, which means I'm supposed to have something dramatic to say, but I don't. I really don't. I can quote scriptures, but you know the reality is it's everything that everyone has said. You know, I think about my relationship with the Lord and everything I look to the Lord for, right? All of the reasons why I submit to God. You know, oftentimes we want to be called the head, but we don't understand the accountability that comes with it. You know, a lot of men want the submission by the wife, but they don't carry the mantle of accountability. What I say to my family is everything that you all have said. You know, I believe in lordship over the home. I believe in that, but you can't lord over it if no one has confidence in you. So for me, I look for the confidence from my wife, the confidence from my children, that they know that no matter what comes or goes, at the end of the day, when you get to the end of that rope, I'm the knot at the end of the rope. And so that's what I try to present to my wife. That's what I try to present to my children as cover or as protector. I tell them, I scare them all the time. I'm waiting around the corner and I'm like, boo, and they jump. I'm like, why are you jumping in your own house? No
All right.
reason to be. I go through these practice sessions to stop them from jumping in their own house. I said, because you shouldn't be afraid in here. So those are the little things that I do to try to keep their confidence high, knowing that everything is going to be all right.
I'm jumping out on somebody tonight. Are we allowed to ask questions, or is that no? That's a no.
Yes, but hold on. Yes, you definitely are. You can ask all the questions you want. I have a question first, though. So, Ephraim, you mentioned your protection, or I guess your influence or reach as it pertains to other women outside of your initial circle. And I guess that's part of my question. And Anthony, can correct me if I'm wrong. Part of most of the discussions we have, of course, is starts with our families.
Right.
But the idea is to hope that some of these practices that we're extending them to our communities,
Right.
and the people that we come in contact with. So Ephraim, you were saying, there's limits and there's boundaries. So as men, do you feel like it's or that you have some level of responsibility for women outside of your home that you come in contact with?
I feel something. I struggle with identifying what it is. I don't know if it's responsibility. I don't know when I see this little kid cutting up with his mama, if that's my responsibility to straighten him. I just know I have an urge to say, boy, act right. So it's something that pulls at me. So I don't know, honestly. I don't want to get self-righteous. It just feels, it's hard. You see something that's kind of hard to pass by. But I don't know what the extent is, because I've said things to some parents that had some kids. I see a mom, and I could be reading the situation wrong. The daddy could be in the car. I'm just, maybe it was a quick run to the store, and I say something to the child, and they good, they covered, so it's not received. So when you talking about people outside of your circle, there is a limit, because I can't lay down my life for some stranger, because I got to go lay down my life for my family, So there's limits, but I don't know if I would call it a responsibility, but it's definitely an urge, man. Like I see a situation that I feel I can bring some help to, and I see somebody who seems helpless. Now, if there's two crazy fools going at it, then they know what they're in. But I mean, if you see a woman in a situation, something simple as opening the door because her hands are full, or full blown, God forbid, situation, I have an urge to want to help.
That's good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm you go ahead. Jake. No, I'm like E. But I do think we have a responsibility to an extent.
What's
And I
that
hate
extent?
and I hate using the word responsibility like you, because I wholeheartedly believe that a person has to want to be protected before you can protect them.
Yes, sir.
And that dilemma becomes a problem. I've had friends who had girlfriends, for instance, who would initiate and instigate and be the catalyst in every single argument that shut down the bar. She wrong, but that's his girl. And I'm like, hey, look, we got his back. However, you can't go starting stuff.
Yeah.
So it's that fine line. And then the cop in me kind of spoke as well, because that was my job, protecting people. But at the same time, my first responsibility is at home. So everything that I did was driving me to get back home.
Right.
So it's like E, it's hard to say to what extent. I ain't gonna walk past a woman getting slapped around by a dude and not say nothing and not interject myself in it. But at the same time, is this a woman that I've seen 15 times that stay with this guy and don't want to change and enjoy the type of struggle or the back and forth or whatever cycle she's in? It's not. I'm not supposed to be her deliverer. Now I'll put you an A, but I'm not her deliverance.
Yeah.
I stay in trouble.
Here you go.
I just, my thing is, if you don't want me to say anything, then don't let me see it. Because I don't know how not to say something. I just don't know. I'm hard. I'm not saying it's the right thing or the wise thing. I just don't know how not to do that.
What's the feeling? Responsibility?
I guess, but I think a lot of it's instinct. I mean, I'm former military. I grew up without a father. So there are many reasons why I feel like that. Like I said, I stay in trouble. That's just the truth. But someone said something earlier. I think it was you, Dwayne, about wanting to be protected, wanting to be covered. Right? We live in a day and age where everybody loves their independence. Everybody loves their power. And I what I say to women is, don't be so independent, so strong that you dismiss a good man.
Come on, preacher.
Because sometimes, you're so confident in yourself and, you can handle it and all of that. And you forget that men require, men need to feel necessary. Right. That's important.
Let that sink in for a second. Let it sink in. I feel some pushback on you, Pastor. I wanted them to receive that.
You gotta go to bed right now.
People don't understand it. That's not a weakness. It's actually a strength.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because when you need me, I'm going to be there. I don't want you to need me and me not be there. So men, there's something in us. We want to feel like we're the savior. We want to feel like we're necessary. We want to know that in your mind, I know you can do it by yourself, but you don't have to always act like you can do it by yourself. I think that's what's critical. I think that somewhere along the line with this independence of women and all of that, we went from I can do it, and whether you're there or not, to I can do it better than you, to I don't even need you. And I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm saying, but there is a faction of that mindset out there that is destructive to the fabric of that cover. I'll sit back and let y'all go off now.
They about to block them.
I think you blocked. Hey, good evening, Lisa. Thanks for joining us. Tangela.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have a question. I enjoy your comment, Pastor. What do you say to the little girl who grows up without a father, who grows up into a woman who's had destructive relationships and who doesn't know how to allow a man to properly love, honor, protect, and cover her? What does that? I don't want to call it a rehabilitation process, but what does that process look like for the woman who has had to do it all, be it all, involuntarily or otherwise?
Right. I think first and foremost, that's someone that I would, number one, introduce to the Lord. And number two, we have to remember that mental health is necessary for us. I think we miss the boat sometimes because we don't deal with our upbringing. We don't deal with our issues. We don't get that exposure until we connect with somebody and we're planning a future. A lot of times we find out too late that these are issues, and you become locked into a relationship and that beast comes out, and now you're trying to unravel something you had no idea was even there. So I would say if someone is coming to me and saying that they have these issues, I think the biggest thing is understanding that you have those issues and finding somebody that you can talk to about it, so that when that right thing comes along, you know it when you see it. A lot of us are dealing with demons. A lot of us are dealing with issues that we never uncovered, we never exposed growing up. We live protective by nature. You know, we cover it up. It's in our nature to do that, but it's not healthy. And I would say the same thing to a man or to a young man that's growing up who didn't see the example of fatherhood or cover, because too many of our young Black boys are growing up and they didn't see it. I grew up without a father in the house. You know, I had to learn, and I mean, I had to learn. My message is, I don't preach what I heard. I preach what I've lived, but I haven't found a topic that I can't preach yet. And that's because I didn't have that role model in the house. I had bits and pieces growing up, so I had to learn the hard way what this thing was. So I'd have it would be the same advice for both male and female. Get some help. Deal with your stuff.
So yeah, go ahead, Tim.
No, I was waiting for you to talk. Go ahead.
Okay. So what? Okay. So with the covering, and because I understand what you're saying, Tangela, because if you grow up just always doing it yourself, you don't, in your mindset, you never really make a space for a man. You might want one, but you don't know how to make a space for one. So I dig that. My question is speaking like outside, right? So say something happens, and a gentleman wants to step in and help. Will you ladies be willing to let the man help if you're by yourself? An unsafe situation or something going on, or were you more apt to just, no, I got it, I can take care of it myself?
I
think it's Go ahead.
I'm willing to accept the help, especially if I know that I need it and I'm kind of out by myself. My husband, and when he does things routinely, and he would talk to our boys about why we would pull over and in the middle of 285 or the middle of the highway and help somebody change a tire or push their broken down car out of the road, and he would tell them that he was sowing seeds so that when I'm by myself, that hopefully someone would in turn help me. So when I hear him say things like that, I initially, like, if I'm in trouble and I'm out in public and I'm alone, I'm looking around to see who looks safe to potentially even ask for help if they're not automatically offering, because I know that those are seeds that my husband has sown and that surely I'm going to reap, because that's a part of his intent, not just the generosity, but it's a part of his intent when he does it, that, God will look after me as well when I'm out, and make sure that somebody in turn does that for me. So I would accept the help. Now, if they look a little shady and they look like they're going to kidnap me and put me in the trunk of a car, I'm gonna put my
I got it.
They got that kidnapping starter pack in the trunk. I know.
Oh man.
You can't describe it, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. If I'm out by myself, no, I'm not going to. If you offer to help me, I can have my hands full and dragging something with my feet. Yeah, I'm not. I have to be honest. Like, I'm not the person that's gonna say, yeah, go ahead and help me. And it's probably because of a lot of reasons, but too many times, things have gone sideways. Like, you let somebody help you to your car, and then he's like, oh, if I was your man, you wouldn't have to be out here. Like,
he's just shooting a shot. Tell him no.
Curry style.
For me, like, I always think 10 steps ahead. Like, is it worth the aggravation, or can I just struggle my way to the car? And it's sad to be that way, but I think too many times men have taken extra liberties. Like, I've said to people, oh, I'm married. And he's like, and? Well, where your man at? You shouldn't have to be pumping your gas, or you shouldn't have to be at the gas. who wants to deal with that? Like,
But
that's
but
not
don't y'all deal with
flattering.
that all the time? Just asking.
You said what? Deal with what?
Don't you
Don't
deal with it
y'all
all
get
the time?
y'all get hollered at all the time, right?
But that's the point, right? So like, it's already frustrating enough that I don't know, like there's no real decency. So I'm not gonna take your help. I'm not gonna invite you to aggravate my last nerves.
Now, what if
So
it's
yeah,
something that you can't do? Same
Mm.
situation, but something that you
like
can't
what?
physically. Can you
I've
check?
changed my own tire before.
Oh,
Okay.
here we go.
I
Not
know.
that,
I'm not
no, no, no.
saying
I'm that
you
right.
said something I
Right.
physically can't do. I can change a tire. Do I
Okay.
want to?
Okay.
Absolutely
Let's
not.
let's
So
say
there's nothing you can do.
let's say you're driving back from some pastor house, and heaven forbid, the car just stops. Like, and it's not the tire. You don't know what it is, and you're in a spot with no reception, so you can't call AD. And then somebody pulls over. It's the middle of the day, and say, "Ma'am, is there anything I can do to help?"
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna say
Okay,
yes.
okay. You roll up in Walgreens and you get two girls say we're gonna fight you. What you want me to do? Leave it alone? Let you get jumped?
How, that is not the same
How's it
thing.
not the same? I'm just saying, like, because I might holler at you when the fight over. You want me to leave you alone? I'm just curious. How does this go?
I
I'm
got
not gonna let you get whooped. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Mom got them hands, son.
Yeah, she got it. AD, she had it.
I'm just saying, you asked if somebody offered to help you. That's somebody, I mean, I'm over 40. Who is walking up to me talking about fighting at this age? Like, I just don't see
You
that
never
as a
know.
likely situation. And I'm just making a point. I'm not the person that if you ask me if I can do it and it's just maybe a little bit of a struggle, I'm going to do it. I'm just saying me. I'm not saying that's necessarily the right way to be, but too many times it's turned out, it's turned out in an unfavorable way. So I'm not the person that's gonna ask for help. I mean,
Sam, I'm with you. I don't even like the bag boy from Publix to walk me out to the car. I'm
right?
like,
No,
no, it's
I
okay. I
got
got
it.
it.
Got like 15 bags. I'm trying to.
I'm
You sure,
good.
man?
I
It is my job.
I ain't even gonna be mad at y'all because my wife don't even go grocery shopping, so she ain't got to worry about the bag boy trying. I do the shopping, bring the groceries in the house. It's all love.
I mean, unfortunately, and of course not all men, because granted, I'm looking at some very decent men, good men in front of me, but unfortunately, men have. It's almost like there's a slight fear of what might come with your help.
So
Like,
so so you would accept the help if you were single? Is that what you're saying?
no.
She said she
They can't holler at you if you single?
Listen, I can't stop what you do, but I don't have to invite it either.
She said she just don't trust us. That she
Right.
it's a trust issue.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not at a place where I feel comfortable enough to say, yeah, go on and help me to my car with these bags.
And let me give you a little bit of Holy Ghost real quick. If you're in a situation and you need the help and then it goes crazy, just take the keys, right? And put it between your hands. It's great. It is great in soft tissue. It'll get them off you real quick, and the ER ain't gonna help them.
Okay.
I mean,
Good
all
to
of that
know.
is great, but I'm just saying why. Like, I don't want to put myself in that position where
But you
I
see the
gotta
position
try to.
of the man. If he helps you, then
Fine.
you gonna shoot him down because he trying to holler at you. If he don't, everybody around him be like, "What kind of man is you?"
Well, for me, it depends. If it's a complete stranger, I'm more apt to to reject the help. But there's been time when I've been at work and my battery wouldn't my battery died. I would accept help from a coworker, or at least there's somebody I have some familiarity with.
That you've seen before. Got it.
Right.
Right.
I
Got it.
mean, well, yeah, a coworker. I mean, you see them every day. If they try to attack you in the parking lot, it's like, oh, my husband coming to work for me tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like one of those things. But if we're just talking about, stray people
Stranger.
on the street, I feel
Right.
like there is a difference. I don't feel like, unfortunately, men have not proven to be trustworthy.
I got a question.
Trustworthy.
because I know this is going to be slightly different because three of my sisters are married, right? Trina, you're single. You're right. Okay. Widow. So I just want to ask it from this point of view. Like Sam, McNair, Tangela, you guys have your husbands. And I know it's slightly different. Does it make a difference? Is there a different vibe for you, I guess, when your husband was around to now when it came to how you interact when it comes to help? Does that make sense?
I need you to reframe it.
Okay, so with Sam, say for instance, with Sam, AD is alive. So with that being said, like, or they're married, or from a married point of view, my wife doesn't even, if a man said anything, it could be the gas caps open on the car. She's not even listening. She'll call me, yeah, somebody kept blowing the horn or whatever, and I got to the light, and he was like, the gas cap is off. And she was like, oh.
Right, that's good.
So I'm saying, like, because she's married to me, she even looks at any male from the outside already with a different eye. Like, yeah, you might want something. That's why you're trying to help me. So I'm asking, is there a difference when you're not in a relationship and you get the same thing? Do you? Because you see, is there a barrier with the husband being removed? Is there a barrier taken away from the level of help you're willing to receive?
Not for me. I probably was even worse when I was single. I probably was even worse than I am now.
I feel like
Um,
I feel like I'm still there's sometimes I would accept help, but again, like I think Shanetta said, it really depends. You kind of can feel sometimes if somebody is looking like the unsub, or if they're like, you know what I mean? You can kind of feel if they're a little off, but I have accepted help in certain situations.
Okay.
But more likely than not, I'm like, oh, I'm good. It's okay. You know, just because you have to be so careful, especially now with all this trafficking and everything. You never know what kind of side trick somebody trying to play, and you know, you always got to give the side eye because you just don't know. And when you're out by yourself, you know, either way, you still have to just be so careful, and that's just the reality. You just have to be so careful.
How many of you guys have self-defense classes or carry any type of pepper spray, pocket knives, or any of that?
I carry a pocket knife.
That's okay. You don't have to say it out here. Wait. We're online. Don't tell me.
You don't say it.
Over at Solomon Temple, everybody got a gun.
Let them find out what they need to. Let them find out.
Let me ask that a different question. As women, do you know that you should be carrying things that can offer you additional protection? And are you actively, this is rhetorical, are you actively looking into ways to better that self-protection in the absence of somebody who's genuinely going to protect you?
Yep. Yeah, I know that I need some sort of personal protection. I haven't gotten it yet, but yes, it's in discussion.
I Pastor, I got it. I just don't got a permit. It's still, Pastor. I got bullets and everything. I just can't take it nowhere.
Hey, and let me clarify that, brother. You live in the state of Georgia.
Right.
You can carry it everywhere in your car.
Right.
You don't need a permit to carry it in your car. Now, when you get out to put gas in, you can't take it outside. But as long as it's in your car, you good.
Going in there tomorrow.
It's smart to have a permit.
Let's not discuss what our sisters have or don't have on this platform.
Right.
I got a question.
So women
we
get it.
never talked about I don't want help. I don't need help. Men are funny. I can't trust them, but I don't carry anything. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
But the point of the point of that was, if you're watching this and you don't, if you don't know what a car key can be for you, if you don't know how to gouge eyes out, if you don't have pepper spray and you're a woman and you're a lot of places alone, the whole purpose of that is for you to become acquainted with it, not necessarily for my sister, because their comfort is up in here anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What's your question, E?
So y'all revealed to me the process of when y'all were choosing a man. How far up the list was protector? Like, could you ever be attracted to any man that you thought was soft?
For me, my dad was my example, and like I said, if my father didn't provide anything else, he provided protection, and covering. Even to the point, I have a quick story. I was grown, and was driving in Riverdale and got pulled over for speeding, and I'm just expecting to get a ticket, but I inadvertently switched purses and I left my driver's license at home. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, you can just, run the tag, or I give you my social. I have a valid driver's license. And so the cop came back and said, are you licensed to drive in the state of Georgia? I'm like, yeah. He said, I'm gonna ask you again. And I'm thinking, okay, something about to happen. And I panicked. And the only thing I could do is say, let me call my daddy. And I called my daddy and gave the cop the phone. And I don't know what my dad said to him, but he said, well, I'm gonna give you a ticket for speeding. You make sure you carry your license on you. So I don't know what my daddy said, but that was my first instinct is I'm in trouble, I'm gonna call my daddy. So when I got of age to get married, that's instinct. I have to feel safe. I have to feel that if something happens, I can look to you to be able to handle the situation.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary to have Debo, right?
Right.
R.I.P.
I think what you want is to know that the man that you have in your life is going to be there.
Right.
That because this is not a physical stature question. This is a heart question.
Yeah.
Right. I'm 5'8", and you can't be too big if you come at somebody that I love. There's just there's just nothing that one or two things gonna happen. I'm gonna die, or you gonna stop. It's heart. I mean, it's not about you could marry a man or be with a man that's 5'4" and 118 pounds and feel absolutely secure because of the heart of that man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's about what's here and here as opposed to what's here.
Right.
That's the reality. I tell people all the time, look, if I'm getting into a fight, send my wife. I don't even want my homies. Just send Lady McCrory. Me and her gonna take care of it, right? Because there's an understanding that we're all in.
Right.
And what you want is a man that's all in.
See, I got your back, Andy.
Hey, go get Sam.
But if he appears soft, is that a turnoff for y'all? Could y'all be attracted to somebody
the
that?
word soft, when you use that word, that's a turn off.
Yeah, that's broad, man.
Like
right.
Soft. I mean,
because I'm soft.
I guess.
How do you define soft?
Yeah, that's
right.
that's.
So you gotta define it because I feel like
we ain't talking about Ralph Tresvant. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about
Sensitive.
We're talking about somebody saying, "Hey, yo, that's your girl," and you running.
I think Dwayne said said something earlier in the conversation. He said confidence. And to me, that's what it is. Am I confident
Yeah.
that, you know, when the situation arises, how is he going to respond?
There you go.
So
I know my boy got hands.
so here's the thing, right? Like
They
I'll
move
say
so
this.
slow now, though.
This is not like a reflection on my husband
Oh,
in any
wait a
way.
minute. Wait a
Don't
minute.
do that, Ephraim.
I'm
Let me
just,
say
I'm
what
bracing.
saying.
I'm bracing.
No, what I'm saying is when I decided, you know, when we decided to get married, like protection honestly wasn't even something I thought about. Like being the age I am now and understanding it more, it wasn't something that I thought about at all.
Don't do the light skinned brother like that.
Why?
What is that?
Cause Sam don't need no help.
No.
What?
It just, I mean, I grew up in a house without a viable male figure. Like I was the oldest of five. I don't know. It wasn't something that was on my mind. Somebody
You won't worry. You just won't worry.
Right.
It's like
I guess right. It
Yeah.
wasn't something, you know, that I really thought about like that. You said on the list how far down was protection. It wasn't, you know, something I thought about.
Do you equate protection to covering?
I think they definitely go hand in hand.
So you
I
wanted the
think-
covering?
Well, now I did, because I'll be honest, I didn't understand what that was back then either.
Maturity played a
Like-
role, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the biscuit
Yeah.
got cooked.
I
There go
mean,
them
like at the time, you know, I knew we had been friends since I was 15. Like we wind up reconnecting because I had broke up with somebody, and I was like, I need somebody I could talk to that understand me. So I tracked him down in
If you
South
connected with
Carolina
Alvin Short.
because we hadn't talked, you know, since he went away to college. So, you know, I called his house and got his number and all that because I knew, like, he understood me, you know, and I could trust him. So that just translated into marriage. So I guess it was like a covering type thing because I
Yes.
knew I could trust him.
She felt safe. And that's
Right.
all, yeah.
Yeah.
The security, you know.
And I think that's a different type of protection as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Protect that heart.
Yes.
Look, I ain't even gonna lie. Look, I've been in a situation one time where I was confident in myself. I knew I could handle myself, but she felt a little too safe, and we was just dating. And she's looking at people like, "Don't look at me. You see what I'm with my man."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "Hold on.
yeah.
It ain't gotta be all that."
Don't do it like that.
Right. It's like, look, if he came over here and was disrespectful, I got
That's
it.
different. Yeah.
But don't bring it to the table.
Oh man, that's so true, bro. Because I really came to see the movie. I didn't want to
Right.
fight tonight. Oh
Right.
man.
Standing on the sideline saying, "Was she the one talking?" It wasn't me."
So as men, okay, so we talked about if you feel some sort of responsibility to actually protect women outside of your home. On the flip side of that, do you feel any responsibility when you see these knuckleheads out just being knuckleheads? Like, you know, I remember there was a time where if there was a bunch of dudes cussing and a woman walked up, you know, they'd be like, oh, you know, my bad. Like, that doesn't happen now. You know, you could be walking past and dudes are cussing and they like, you know, ready to cuss at you too. Like, what you looking at? You know, like,
Well,
so as a man, do you feel a responsibility to, and maybe responsibility is the wrong word. I know, Ephraim, you don't like that word. Do you feel an urge to, you know, address those type of situations when you see guys, you know, just out being disrespectful or, you know, being knuckleheadish? Like,
I think a major issue, and I feel we're facing it both in the church and out the church. It's a loss of reverence, man. Respect. I had a homie who had 315s in the trunk. He would go by the church and would cut his music down at the stop sign, go past the church and then play it. I had another homie who wouldn't play his CDs until like 3 o'clock on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like, But nowadays, these young boys, well, not just them, but nowadays there's a loss of respect, a loss of reverence for certain protocols, procedures, God. Like you said, you ain't cuss in front of your mama and all this. Now it's like, I'm gonna show you how down I am and what I can do and all. Like it's so. What can I say to somebody who don't have the same foundations as me? What can I say to somebody who's not gonna start from a place of respect? So I still feel the urges. I say some things sometimes, but you put your stuff out there. You hope that you receive, but it's no respect out here with these young boys.
Well, I would agree that there's less out there with these young boys. And I would say that it goes beyond even with women because, I've been to my children's school and they just are cursing and you walk up and they don't skip a beat, and when it's children, I'm always going to say something. It really doesn't matter. It's different when it's grown men and you're not in a space where you have that kind of authority, right? If you're out there, if I don't want to hear it, I'm just going to walk in the other direction,
right?
But if we're at an event and you are within 2-3 feet of me, and you can't contain yourself, you're interrupting other people's opportunity to have a good time, and I'm going to say something. It's just in my, and again, certain people just have, there's certain personalities that will never say anything. There's other personalities that will pick and choose moments. You have those who are just going to say something. I don't, Lord have mercy. We're all trying to get better. That is just not something that I have been able to overcome yet.
Right.
I'd rather not deal with it. And again, I think it's all about where we've been, where we come from. Every situation is different. Everybody handles it different. But when it comes to women, my question would be, would you want your mate, your man, to say something?
What do you mean?
You're out having a good time, and folks are cutting up. When we talk about covering and protecting, would you rather your gentleman not say anything? If people are interrupting you all having a good time, even if it's not directed at you, but it's still a distraction, it's interrupting your ability to have a good time, would you want your gentleman to say something?
Honestly, in this day and age, I wouldn't.
Right.
Because it's just so much going on and things could escalate. I wouldn't want him to intervene.
Yeah.
What if I get that permit?
She said that ain't advanced, like.
Shanetta?
I would have to say it depends on kind of the situation and the vibe of the situation as to whether or not I feel like he should address it or say something. When you think about kids and it's a situation where it's like young kids or something like that, or like teenagers at the high school, like when we go to events, I'm probably more apt to say something because they're kids and I'm just somebody's mama and I'm just gonna be like, hey, because I've literally done that at a track meet, and then I reported it to a coach one year because the kids were just cussing and I guess, I don't know if they didn't know that I was a parent or whatever, but they were going at it, and I was just like, absolutely. Right. So after I fussed at them, I also reported it to their coach. I think in a situation like where it's kids around, I'm more apt to say something because I'm a mom. But if we're in a situation where we're out in public and it's my husband and myself, and someone is cutting up, if it's something I feel like is not super unsafe, then I would kind of expect him to kind of, address it if he could. But if it's something where we're kind of already in a space where we don't really trust the people around us anyway, we're probably heading out anyway. But with that being said, I think that protection also involves intelligence and wisdom, and that you have to know it's better for us to just get up and leave, even if we're in the middle of something that we really didn't want to walk out on. It might be safer for us to make that call to make a move than to just sit here and me expect him to just, like sacrifice himself for the sake of, because then like if they hurt him,
Who next?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that goes to what Dwayne was talking about earlier with the kind of girls that, when we were younger, they wanted to see you show off,
Right.
and to think that they wanted you to react drastically to these situations. That is an indicator right there that they didn't care about you. And I tell young boys that too, because they just throwing you out there,
Yeah.
and the pressure that they put on us as young boys is, you got to be rough, you got to be tough, you got to be this, you got to be that. And sometimes that goes without what you spoke to is the intelligence. Like, don't be a dummy. You know what I'm saying? It's 10 of them. Yeah. And she said she think they looked at her. Like, I mean, come on, like, slow down for a second, think it through. But a lot of guys, man, and I'm not just talking about had a rough night. Some people lost their lives.
Right.
Then they killed Emmett Till on some reckless eyeballing. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a lot of crazy situations behind, all that. I don't want to blame women on a woman's show, but I'm just saying it's been crazy.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, I refrain.
So, okay, guys, I have another question. So, if it's a woman, say you go somewhere, you could be you and your wife, you can be by yourself, and it's some loud woman, she cussing, whatever, she very aggressive. How do you deal with that? What's your take? Like, it's you and your lady, and she like super aggressive. So as a man,
I'm not saying anything to a woman.
okay.
Like the woman you with, or another woman? Who cutting up? Your woman?
Yeah, another woman, she's saying another year out with your lady, and there's another woman out there cutting up. I'm not saying anything to a woman.
I think I would step in either.
I'm not.
And think, like you talked about assessing situations and safety.
Don't
And
say it like that.
what about you, McNair?
How you doing?
I'm probably not gonna say nothing.
Yeah, she got that.
Yeah.
I think it's let me, how do I say it? What can I say about another woman in the presence of my woman, no matter what she doing?
Nothing.
I don't think it'd be like a different situation. Go ahead.
If I could foresee the situation going from bad to worse, and it's something that I could try to help to diffuse, I would. It just depends on how crazy she is.
Yeah.
And it's all about reading the situation as to how far I'm willing to go to try to diffuse the situation.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to count up the cost. And Walter B, if it's different if someone is coming at you or at the lady.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's a different situation because cover protection is protection. It doesn't matter who you are. But my thing is when it comes to women, it's just as a man, I'm always thinking of the weaker vessel. I don't know what's driving that behavior. I have a different expectation for men than I do for women. I don't want anybody to be out clowning and not be in control of themselves, but I'm just not going to address a woman unless to McNair's point, if you see a potential injury or something happening, something progressively getting worse, and there could be some danger, then you might call, say something, get some help. But for the most part, we're going to head another direction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Trina, you've been really quiet. You're just sitting, taking it all in. You ain't have no questions, no comments, nothing.
Thinking of a master plan over there.
I mean, I guess I do have a question. Just as far as like we're talking about young men being unruly and that type of thing. Do you guys feel any not responsibility, but any urge when um not when it's to that point, but when there are young men in your uh maybe outer circle, young men that you know who don't have the who don't have a father, who don't have any type of instruction? Do you feel any responsibility? I'll just say that responsibility to, just say,
Yeah,
listen, young brother, even if they're not doing anything, just to be that mentor when you know that they don't have anyone, they don't have a father,
Absolutely.
they
absolutely,
don't have any instruction.
absolutely.
absolutely. Like my father wasn't there, and almost everything that I can attribute to being a maturing young man, and I say his name all the time, Elder Charles Berry, was like a father to me. Didn't have to, but always was. I mean, everything from washing the car, cutting grass, changing brakes. This how you talk to a woman. Take time to know her. Every time I saw him, it was always something he was pouring in. So, for at a minimum for me, I think that it's definitely important to give that back, because that impact is going to impact somebody else who's going to pay it forward, and it keeps mothers who do everything they can, and that's just not enough alone. It's the help that keeps them floating sometimes.
It's all of our responsibility to raise kings in our communities.
Right.
So there's always a responsibility for us. We already know what we're up against, right? So to not do that would be troubling for me.
And,
I mean,
on that, I hope that people and whoever's, let's say, you got a young kid, whoever's in his life, like his guardian, his parent, his caregiver, whatever, they also have to let them loose enough to be mentored. There was a young man that me and Tan are close with, and I tried to get my hands on them, but they just wouldn't let me. Super Bowl parties and other things like that, and they just wouldn't let me, because especially, I don't know about girls, I've never been one, but boys, you have to get their attention, and you can do nothing with them. My daddy used to walk around the house and just shake us sometime, and then tell us to just go do something random, like just to throw us off balance, to make sure that we paying it. And I call him right now if y'all think I'm lying. He would just throw us off. So you have to have their attention. And if I can't get your attention, if I can't get through to you, because the people who have the full responsibility of you, me, I'm trying to pitch in, but the people who have the responsibility of you, they have to let me get in that space.
Yeah. I think you always have to look at it as it's a potential seed. You never know where you are in the life cycle of that individual, and maybe somebody came before you, planted a seed, and you might be the increase. So I always look at it from the perspective of I might be that voice that makes a difference. And if not, the next man will. But I just won't sit idly by and miss the opportunity. Not for young boys. I just can't, not for young boys. Again, because I grew up without a father.
Yeah.
I think for myself, it's just doing it, and I don't know if any of these gentlemen ever had that moment where you want to see it all happen in front of you. You want them to respond, get enlightened, and grow right there in front of you. But you have to, like Pastor said, you got to realize you just got to plant the seeds. It's like, all right, I'm plant the seed. He gonna roll his eyes. Fine, I'm gonna just say it. Ain't gonna roll his eyes. I don't care, and I'm gonna just keep moving. So I think it's just getting past the attitude. Like, all right, I did my job, God. I did my job. I'm walking off. I did it. That's it. I think it's just doing it, taking the step to just speak into a young man's life, and even if you get their attention, talk to them a little while, and they're like, man, old man, you don't know what you're talking about. You just like, listen, I'm planting the seed. You're gonna remember this talk later. And that's what I do with my kids. Like, y'all don't understand it all, but you remember this talk later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did anybody have any other questions?
Can we come back?
Come back to the show?
Part two.
Listen, Ephraim, you're always welcome.
Nah, I want to be on the show. I want to be on with y'all. I don't want to be in the comment section.
But he said, "Can we?" And then you said, "From you good." You know, I feel
Oh, wait,
left out
yeah.
already.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations,
Congratulations.
on your engagement.
Wow. That's
That
wonderful.
Congratulations.
is wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I think I do have a last question. So, you guys all said, your take and your interpretation of we're here every Tuesday at 8:30. But the gentlemen are not here every week. Typically it's just us four ladies. The guys are guests. They are on Monday through
There you go.
Friday
Get to the plug.
at 9 a.m. in the morning every day. So if you want to see the guys, tune in the morning every day. If you want to see us ladies, Tuesdays 8:30.
Yeah. They pretty as enough.
Huh?
Yeah.
Tune into
somebody-
what in the morning?
I'm sorry, Brothers of Legacy
Thank you, sir.
is on Monday through
Thank you.
Friday,
Appreciate
9
Appreciate
a.m.
That's for you,
Get on
Pastor.
my
Yeah,
nerves. Look,
And I call that the dream snatcher. They
Okay, wait. So my question, guys. So y'all all, said what, your take on the covering and the protection or whatever. Pastor McCory, you said, you grew up with a single mother. Anthony, I know you grew up in a 2-parent household, and I believe Dwayne maybe didn't either, right? A single household. So where did you guys learn how to cover and protect a woman in your home? Was it something you learned with age, or was it like a trial and error type deal?
It was a combo for me.
I think it was all of the above for me, but a lot of it I got through Bible study.
Okay.
That's what a lot. Because what happened is the Word of God began to come alive, and then I began to see the behavior in men of God.
Okay.
Right, and I was able to connect the dots and grow and get better.
And for me, the written epistle was what made a difference with me. It was that person walking out the example of the word. And I knew what I had in my house and what we didn't have and what I wish I had. And then I knew what I saw whenever I was around them.
Do you believe, though, that a single mom can teach a young man how to cover and protect a woman, or how to be that man? Or do they have to have a male mentor or male model to grow into that man? Or can the single mom do it?
That's a great question.
Young men need to see men.
I think where the single mom can be successful is by making sure that there is viable examples around, because a mom can never replace the dad, but what you can do is make sure that he sees godly examples of what that looks like.
Yeah, my mother raised us. She literally did her best to put in us the things that she desired in a good man.
Mm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when I became an adult, I'll never forget. We used to say Happy Father's Day to our mother.
Mm.
And then one day I called my mom and I said, I'll never say it to you again, because you're not my father. You're my mother.
I agree. Yep.
I had to learn that, and I had to learn that as a man, because especially when I became a father, I realized what was missing.
Yeah.
Now I'm appreciative that my mother put men in our space to make sure, like my mother had male role models around us that we could look to. We didn't always do it, but she made sure they were there, right. Men in the community, because back in the day, you had men there and they could be available, and they didn't have to sleep with your mother.
Right.
They were just men in the community, and because I grew up in a time where, you could get a whooping and it may not necessarily be from your mama.
Our family.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
And
Down
so
the street.
what I learned is she did the best she could with the hand that was dealt to her. But she also realized how necessary it was to have those male examples, because my mother had 4 sons and no daughters. So it was critical to have those male role models in front of us.
That's good.
I commend the mothers.
Absolutely.
I commend them for all that they do to rear these young boys and try to make men out of them. I believe that, but I truly believe that they have to have that male influence. They've got to have that man. They got to have it.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. This has been a great experience. We appreciate you guys taking out your time. To all the viewers, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support, coming in, the comments, the new people, my first timers. Thank you guys. Hopefully you'll join us again next Tuesday at 8:30. To all my people, I love you guys. It means the world to have your time and to have you guys spend the time with us tonight and share. What y'all laughing at?
Nine.
Y'all are rude.
That's
Yes,
your
thank you.
husband and her husband.
Again, thank you guys. We're gonna close out and we'll be back next Tuesday at 8:30.